Hey there, Libra. Here's your weekly horoscope for March 21 to March 27th. Well, in general, we've got a lot of things going on in air signs, which is good for you, but also fire signs. Most importantly, the sun has moved into Aries. It is now springtime. And you're not so much of a winter person. You're an autumn sign, but you can certainly enjoy spring. With the sun moving into Aries, it does put the focus on relationships for your sign. Aries would occupy the house that you normally rule, the seventh house of relationships, both business and partnership. But oddly, that house is also the house of open enemies. So Sun in Aries kind of puts a focus on perhaps you having your back up a lot more and willing to actually deal with some confrontations. You're probably the least confrontational sign of the zodiac. You avoid them like the plague. But you are an air sign, and when you need to, you will speak up. Just try to make sure that you do that in a good way this week. I say that because the planet Mars in air sign Gemini is in a conflict to Mercury and Pisces, and all that aspect in mutable signs for me as an astrologer is just rife with a lot of potential conflicts and confrontations. Now, it doesn't have to be that way because you, better than some of the other signs of the zodiac, you know how to talk to people. You may have charm, or you may know how to choose words properly. That's why so many of you end up in sales and politics or law, because you do have great communication ability. Unfortunately, with this square aspect, that might be flying all out the window if someone comes after you, for example, in an attack. You don't deal with that too well. But you know, your sign is actually well known to be in the horoscopes of generals and other military people because you're pretty good at organizing those sorts of things and defending yourself when needed, and you may be put on the defensive this week with this kind of an aspect. Or you're putting other people on the defensive. I can't always know which way it's going to go because I don't know you. This is just a general reading for all Libras. But I do know this, the focus is on repairing any relationship difficulties where they exist, and certainly establishing boundaries. That's something sometimes that you don't always do so well because you can be very easygoing. But ultimately, your sign is the scales, and there's a 50-50 connotation there. So you probably will want to make sure that you are meeting people halfway this week and that they're meeting you halfway this week as well. And if not, then boundaries need to be discussed and renegotiated and established. You are a sign that is wonderful at compromising. That's one of the best things that you can do. So make that your goal this week if these relationships are important enough that you want to keep them. Other than that, with Mars square Mercury, sometimes fights, disagreements, conflicts can happen that might carry on for a while after this aspect. And therefore, maybe the best thing for you to do is walk away. Or if people walk away from you because they've had enough, if you've given them any nonsense, well, you may have to then own up to your own behavior and deal with that. Having said all that, Mars in Gemini trining Saturn in Aquarius is beautiful for your sign because this week, it started at the very end of last week, but this week in particular, you probably have a lot more discipline and responsibility to get things done. So that's a great aspect for you in a relationship to work or home responsibilities. Also, with Jupiter in Aquarius in a very nice soft aspect to Neptune and Pisces this week, there's the opportunity for you to put a softer spin on things wherever necessary. So, for example, in negotiations or compromises with people. But also, too, with Venus in Aries, Venus, the planet of relationships, since it rules your sign of relationships, in Aries, in the solar seventh house for your sign. As I said, the relationships in your life will be the most important ones that you'll be dealing with this week. There is opportunity for you to enjoy some closeness with more people this week. Maybe in your area, restrictions lift and you're able to visit grandkids or grandparents or whomever. But I think that there's a lot more opportunity from what I'm seeing here for you to have more freedom of movement and being able to get out and do things a lot more. You don't really like to be all that cooped up. Air signs like to be out and about in the world. So you've had enough of restrictions, I'm sure. Anyway, in general, Libra, I think that there is opportunity for this to be a really good week. Could be some speed bumps along the way, but you know what? Don't procrastinate. Deal with them, and you just watch. You can probably fix things well enough, and life will carry on a lot happier for you this week. Good luck.